Hello, and welcome to another common question the Unlibrarian has gotten over the years. Next one is, so what happened to the Unlibrarian? The Unlibrarian is a project of mine that ended up coming into place after I exited my career as a medical education librarian to do so many different things. And unfortunately, by the time I exited, I ended up being put on short-term disability right like the week before. The doctor said, "Yep, you're going off work." So my first 3 months after were difficult, and then I couldn't get like I couldn't work, but I could work. It was weird. And I mean, it's true. The doctor said I could do some form of work, but it meant I was not eligible for disability. So I end up trying to find all sorts of different ways to work, assuming I could do some work, right? And I end up stumbling upon the self employment benefit program for people with disabilities. I'd be able to work the 15 to 25 hours a week, something like that, over the 18 months. And I would have financial support to run my business and even other supports too. But they were just developing. So I was part of the feedback group of telling them what ways it could develop and how they could do better. And the program is great. I do recommend. And but it meant I got a lot of the supports late, like 6 months, a year into the program. I was very grateful for those supports, but unfortunately, I had fallen so far behind too. Plus, with the world closing down and my health becoming more of a struggle, and so I even tried finding different jobs. I got one for 6 months. It was great though. It was a health information specialist, and I loved learning the back end of that database. It was a wonderful experience. And over that time, I've been doing a motorcycle repair course, which is my other video, the Why Motorcycles. And I ended up pursuing a job in parts when I was able to go to full time work for a whole 11 months before being put off work because of cancer. Unfortunately, when I was working as a supply teacher, I was still teaching, like still chasing the neurologist to find out what was going on and to find different ways. And I kept hitting wall after wall after wall. The amount of walls and the wait list that I have hit and have been on is lengthy at best. And so when I finally found that lump, uh, I was just missed my family doctor, of course. Had to go back around and end up in the after hours clinic. Boom, there's a lump. Then it's the fastest I've ever seen a system move. Cancer saved my life in a lot of ways. It also meant a huge reset, too. I did kick the cancer in the boob. Those are clear. Yay! I gotta love that. Gotta have some good news in there. Those silver linings, right? The gold plated silver linings. So I ended up exiting from the school district. They had wanted more paperwork at that point anyway, and I couldn't afford to pay the doctor for it. So I got kicked over to the oncology system and tried different treatments, but they were exhausting. Um, I've regained a lot of things back, but it's also been so long now that it's just a lot of it's gone now too. Um, and then finally in October, November last year, I had a day and it was just like, okay, well, the Unlibrarian business name has expired. All right. The domain's gone. Okay. The phone number's no longer accessible. Huh. And it just shut down. And that was it. Even like the book I keep with all the plans for the Unlibrarian in there, I went to go use that. It was one page left to write down and do a closure of it. So it meant I either needed to rebrand or close it altogether. Um, The Unlibrarian is an important project, and because librarianship is a vocation for me, it's very, very near and dear to my heart. I've even continued to participate in librarianship as a mentor, and I do apologize to my mentees for come closer to Christmas. Fortunately, I was in another round of chemotherapy, and that slowed me down a little bit. But I the cancer spread elsewhere, and it's now just maintaining a good quality of life, and that's what I plan to do. I'm planning to do for as long as I can, and it's just part of life. I mean, in so many ways, like having depression and all my other health issues over the years has kind of prepared me to handle this kind of diagnosis. Um, I'm a stubborn kind of person. I know the reality of it, and I'll might talk about that in some videos because it is a difficult subject. Is preparing for death, and even if it's not long or in 40 years from now, I like the 40 years from now personally. Um, you do have to get those ducks in a row. You have to plan. It also means in the more immediate future, you have to prioritize and schedule what to enjoy, what to embrace. And that sometimes also means reevaluating. I end up closing things for a little while, and I even lost my email for a period of time. It was a very strange few weeks. And then I got them back. And they ended up coming back around. I still get requests here and there, and I've been able to refer, like for names reservations, over to a good friend of mine who's doing them now. And the Unlibrarian has changed. Like even in my last bit of energy before that last round of chemo, I had gone and done that presentation and had even published again in my 2.1. Now I'm season 3 now. Well, I'm already 3 episodes in season 3, so hey, gotta be doing something right. The Unlibrarian is on the outside to do advocacy because librarianship is one of the most misunderstood professions. I understand being misunderstood. I have so many invisible disabilities, right? It's natural for me to just fit in that philosophy. So my advocacy happens in different ways. And over the years, it has happened in different ways. I've applied to tenders just to prove what a library can do for a system. Magically, the tender disappeared and reappeared in a new form. Or, job posting for a system that I know darn well has a library. I apply for the job with emphasis on how the library could do it. And I never hear from them, which makes me hope that maybe they actually make use of their libraries. The libraries are important. My type of advocacy is not in your face. My kind of advocacy gets to the heart of the matter in strange ways. Like I'll just do some things just because it's like, oh, this feels like the thing to do. Okay, well, I'm going to go do it. Doesn't make any sense why, but then it does. It always makes sense. It always does. Always does. So, one of the bonuses of this round of me coming about with the Unlibrarian, I've repositioned it as the Unlibrarian Information Advocate because that's ultimately what a librarian is. We advocate information. We advocate for information by translating it, making it clear, making it available, disseminating it. I'm an information advocate. In another way, I mean, you could call me a holistic librarian, but that's still not something people understand. When you say document review or um, contextual translation, people better understand that. They better understand information advocate than librarian. No matter which way you put holistic librarian, whatever type of librarian, the word librarian trips people. Well, if I put holistic information advocate, holy moly, there's a business name right there. Like it engages something different in the mind. And this is over 5 years of having done different guerrilla marketing. Like even my nails aren't quite like that now, but like I used to do my nails with the Unlibrarian colors just to engage in conversation in more subtle ways. The Unlibrarian. Information is subtle. It's very rare that it screams out loud at you. And if it does, it's usually more of a red flag than anything. But information is there to help. And the more information a person has, the better things go. Part of that, though, on my part, is being able to organize, being able to synthesize, and being able to analyze. Well, about 7 years ago now, I couldn't read anymore. I couldn't hold up a book very well. And I ended up switching to Netflix and discovering captions, but that's a whole other thing and it's awesome. But like my ability to even organize information became more and more and more difficult. And I didn't understand what was happening. Now here's something weird and cool. That since chemotherapy in December, a couple days into it, I looked at a bookshelf and went, oh, I can organize that. You know what's even better? I was able to physically do it. I haven't had that capacity in so long. Like I've had piles and piles and piles of paper. Like I've been able to go through and organize. I lost that capacity. And to have that back now when legacy is so important. Okay. Like now I am highly restricted. I can't do more than, wow, what did they say? 15 hours a week constantly. 15 hours over a month or something is fine. So it means I can do stuff like this. They might consider this volunteering, but I can't let that stop me from still pursuing these kind of endeavors because they're important to me. I do have something to share, and I don't know if that's the legacy aspect of things speaking to me, but I do feel I do have something important to share. Like with my group of mentees, to help them along in their careers, young librarians, regardless of their age, they're still librarians young in their career as librarians. And I might be young, but I've had a career as a librarian and a good one. So I wish to share that so other people don't fall into those stumbling blocks. So they have a cheerleader to help them through on those professional endeavors. And they all want the same thing to publish. It's like, okay, well, one of my projects, now that I have this setup happening, and I'm still figuring it out, old technology, new technology, seeing how it all melts together. But I'm going to start doing little videos of like how to do systematic review articles as a team, because you have to be a team. So we got to talk about the teamwork aspect and how to put together. I already have the slides all put together that I started before the chemotherapy. I was able to do some work on it, and then like, my gosh, we're the end of February. March break is next week. It takes time to heal and recover from things, and that's why it's so important to have that support to do so, and faith. A lot of faith. Hang in there and hang tight. It always somehow works out as long as you keep moving forward and keep making the efforts, make the phone calls, do your due diligence, follow up, do what you have to do. It's an endeavor. So the Unlibrarian is here to stay. apparently. It's going to be as it has been, which hasn't been much. It ended up being less than I expected it to be due to a lot of different circumstances. And that's okay. I'm okay with this. Like, I can look back and see the benefits in it. I can see what I'm doing now and what I can do to keep going forth. And this podcast avenue, especially now doing video podcasts, is kind of neat. Why not? I get to sit here and talk to myself, to you online, for whoever sees these videos. And heck, you got titles, you got topics, shoot them at me. I have so many. I got lists, and you know, I've got organizing capacities coming back, but the ability to pick and make those decisions. Hey, I'm a work in progress here. I'm getting my cognitive self back here, slowly but surely, doing what I can, as I can when I can. But for now, I gotta go and go get ready to get the kiddo. And that's another huge part of the Unlibrarian is it was built to be a mom. And I know that I can continue doing that. The Unlibrarian is built to be something I can do as a mother with my health as it is. And I really did have higher aspirations for it of what it could do and what it could mean for my family. And the way it's turned out and the way it's going to go is, I think it's going to be okay too. So now I'm rebranded, kind of. Actually, no, it's true. My website is rebranded. I did strip it down to, what, 4 things I put on the back of my business card. And the Unlibrarian Information Advocate is here to advocate information so people can be much more resilient, aware, and understanding, and making this world a better place one way or another. Cheers, and have a good day.